Welcome, Flip Clock fans. We're going to look together at a clock that I just got off of eBay, and it was for a very reasonable price. And we're going to see if that's something maybe you should do. Flip clocks are highly expensive now, and sometimes you see ones that aren't working. Should you go after them or not? That's a tricky call. So first thing, we're going to open this up together on camera. And when I say we, I mean me. It's interesting. I don't. It's a smallish clock, so I don't like how this is packaged. I would throw this into another box to send it to somebody. I'm real particular, so and it's a squishy box. Oh, let's hope that's not a foreshadowing of what we got here. I remember how they used to, I'm old enough to know back in the days, post office would require that you wrap your packages in brown paper. Even when I was a young kid, they would have you put postal string on there, like a handle or something. Then with all the machinery, they realized that was a bad idea. Oh, it used to have to be perfect to ship something out, and then UPS came along and they decided, well, maybe we don't have to be so perfect. Okay, so you see, bad situation. You've got the cord touching the clock. Don't like that, and you can barely see any safety up here. So, and that's a bad situation, especially for a clock like this. Let's see what we got. Okay, so what we got? Well, the clock's dirtyish, a little bit in rough shape. It is the Copal model 701. Now, I really like these clocks because it is Copal cast on. It's the older Copals. They're very well made, good mechanics, and I really like the fact that 12 of the digits are in a greenish color, and the rest are white. So you could do AM or PM that way. So it is an alarm flip clock, and I believe we can pretty much bet that the clock is not working, I would imagine. So it's seen its better days. So we'll go ahead and plug it in and see what we get. We get nothing. No hint of movement. Now, why is this a good clock? There's no guarantee I can get this working again, but that's a glass front, which is crazy that the person sent it the way they did. That's a glass front. So sometimes in these videos I'll give a shout out to the person I bought it from, and it was a good deal. They were reasonable, but I'm not going to do that because I don't want to disparage them. But that wrapping was horrible. That packaging was just horrible. Okay, we've got one digit here falling out, but we know how to fix that. And plus, I actually have a parts clock. You may have noticed that the alarm switch was missing its tab, but I actually have a parts clock. And the clock I have, it's been cannibalized and it's been used to get digits. So I'm probably not going to waste my time trying to fix that, which we do have the technology to do that here.
Gentlemen, we can rebuild him.
But
we have the technology.
We can rebuild it, but we're not going to on this case because I probably have that tile to replace. These are the mechanism screws. Spacers. You can see there where that was. So we've got some kind of washer, then a lock washer, screw, and spacer. So these were built. They were built better. They really were. As time went on, the process has got cheaper. And again, mass production, trying to make a profit and all that stuff. So we're powered on here. We got a glow bulb working. It's actually fairly clear. And again, you think that would mean that the clock wasn't used very much, but you can see the tabs here are well used. So why some of these remain clear, it has to be whatever ingredients they're putting in there. Could be the material they made the electrodes out of. Don't know. Okay, so how do you know where you're at with this? Well, first of all, you got to be careful. There is no open electricity here. It's all sealed. It's almost never a connection, but we're looking to see. Now, so how are you going to know? Well, you get the clock open. Oh yeah, you see, it's just stiff. Oh, it's more than just stiff. There may be some gearbox situations here. So we'll have to look at it a little more. I have a feeling we've got a gearbox issue. Now, for the price I paid, was it worth it? Well, I got a good light. Don't really know where we're going with this yet. It doesn't look very promising, does it? So it sounds like something's going on in the case here, and we can go in and take a look at that. I don't think it's a matter of just oiling it. Okay, so yeah, I've got some work cut out for me on this clock. It's not going to be straight up, and I don't know how much effort I want to put into it on a day like today. Gosh, I don't even know what my parts situation looks like. This is when you know you've got too many clocks. This has been in storage for a while, and so, and again, yes, I did this, but it's been a long time ago, and I have to kind of reinterpret what did I do? What was I up to? It spins nicer, don't it? You can see the gearbox in there. Don't know what kind of situation we got. And yeah, you can disassemble that and get into there and see what's wrong. See, I don't even remember what's wrong with this one, but it looks like the gears are in good shape. This is the clock I'm going to use. We've already cannibalized some of the digits, so let's see if it has the one I need. And it does. So it's got the one I need. Top of the 8, bottom of the 9. So altogether, it's questionable. I wonder if I can get this back together, working, possibly. And the way that worked was that I had drilled out the posts. Those posts fit in there. So I drilled out those posts, which allowed me to separate that off. I had previously done that. So I was going to get on here. We were going to do the same. I was going to show you how I drill out those posts. Open this up and get a look at it. But if you look here, what do you see? You see that someone's already done that. So this is a clock, and you know, it very well may be somebody I know from FlipClockFans.com or from the YouTube channel. So they may have actually gotten to this clock, just stepped back and said it ain't worth it, and then they sold it on eBay. Don't know, and if that's you, I'm not mad at you. Well, anyway, so what are we going to do? Well, we're going to get this off of here and see if that readily comes apart. One of the tools I really like is this right here, this little pocket cut down monkey wrench. I love this thing, and I would recommend that. You can get things like this really easily and loosen that. Now usually, so I'm already seeing signs. Usually those are on there tighter. So someone has definitely, well, there's no doubt, someone's been messing with the clock. Now, also, what is this? What size is this? 5.5 millimeters. Happens to be close enough. There's a little, oh yeah, see how easy that comes off? Usually I'd have to insert it into my tool to get some torque. So someone's been in this, and they did not tell us. it's going to be interesting just to look at it and see what the gear situation is like, and if we can fix it. Okay. Oh, already see that's just not very cool. If the person who did this knew that they had done this, but they didn't tell nobody. That looks pretty raggedy, don't it? So that metal gear there may be the issue, almost for sure, because everything else looks great. So yeah, because we've taken this off, and you can see that it spins freely. So it's clearly the gearbox, like we thought, and this spins really freely. So you want to know, well, hey, is that going to spin now? Well, let's find out. Let's not get shocked, though. All right, so we'll plug it in now, and it spins great. Okay, so here's the motor spinning away very nicely. Little wobble there. That's not unusual. And it's not a wobble here, so it's a wobble of the can itself. You can actually try to straighten it out. You don't know if you should. You get a high spot and you might want to tilt it down. What you're doing is you're just bending the can. So I don't know if it's worth that. So the motor is good. The gearbox is whacked. So, and it's that gear right there, probably. So we actually do need to pop this open here. Oh, so yeah. So they had, looks like they had tried to drill out from this side, changed their mind, and drilled out from the other side. That's what they did. Huh. Well, maybe they was right. Maybe, I don't know. I don't think so. I think I'm going to pop out on this side. So we got to be careful. This is aluminum, and if you're prying, you're likely to bend it. That went okay. So you know what I should do. Just take a little screwdriver and give it, just like that. Oh yeah. I don't like to be critical of other people's work, because the reason is because we're all learning, and we sometimes you learn a lot through your mistakes. So that's that gearbox situation. Mine doesn't have that gear, so some chucklehead, which would be me, evidently needed that gear for another clock. That's what it's kind of pointing to now. I guess I better unplug that. Don't know. That sounds horrible. But it's not jamming up now, is it? So let's plug it back in. Huh. Look at that. Sounds terrible. Now we know it's not needing lubrication here, although we will lubricate that. Because whenever you get to this point, whenever you get to here, you have an opportunity to lubricate from both sides, which is rare. And what's going on is there's a bearing and there's a bushing in here. It's just a metal sleeve with a hole in it, and you're going to have a chance to get some lubrication down in there from this side, because we usually lubricate it from this side. We'll drop oil down and it goes down in there. Now, if I was really crazy, I would take this gear off right here, and just drop it right in that bushing. So that would bring this whole thing would come off. The only thing about that is every time you start screwing with that, you're opening up the opportunity of causing problems. So what would I recommend? Leave it alone, because it's spinning great, except for the wobble. There's the high spot. So if I push it there a little bit, well, look at that. I'm not bragging, but I did pretty good there. So all I did was I was comparing the can to those two little pegs. And when I saw the high spot, I pushed it in. That's fraught with danger. You can screw that up. Man, when you do, you end up with a real mess. And that has happened to me. So now we've got a situation where that's actually going great. So why don't we just put a drop of oil here, let that work in. Why not? You've got it open. And then you'll put a drop. That's spinning like gangbusters now. You put a drop oil back there, and that drops down here. And often I will go like this to kind of pulse that oil in there. And then I'm going to sit and let it run. Okay. We got it back together, but this is what it sounds like. It's also running fast. So the reason I think it's going fast is because that gear was squared off from being wore out, and the gear from the motor was just jumping teeth because it was going considerably fast. And what I've done is I've taken the second gear off that's in the gear train from my other clock, because after matching it up, it's the exact size. It is the exact size as the metal one, except this top. This top here needs to be trimmed off so that it'll fit up against the gear from the motor, the brass gear from the motor. And the thing is, I'm going to take that off, and that's actually going to be a good size for, it actually turns out to be the exact size for a bushing to go over this post to allow that gear to rest right up against the gear from the motor. So it's just an interesting coincidence. Like I said, they've just added that gear in there just to try to avoid metal to plastic contact. Now, we see that in our clocks, so I don't think it was necessarily a good idea, especially because it got real janky. And it seems to be an issue with these clocks. So that actually fits perfectly right there. We'll get it all together and make sure everything's working. Yeah, and I can tell it's doing good. It's impacting the gears. Everything seems to be fine. So it's just a matter of getting it all back together.
Better, stronger, faster.
All right then, we've got it all back together. We've got the gears greased up with this PAO grease. Sealed the can with this adhesive from Whirlpool. I actually think it's something very similar to what they used. This stuff will harden and hold, but it can be broke loose, sort of like hot glue, but better. It's very sticky. Now, if you'll see, there's a little gear in there. I've got it placed back in there. It's going around. It's got a little cut out there. It's not really a gear. It's kind of like a cog. So when you set the alarm, so you push this up to set the alarm, let it go off. You'll hear a click there. And a lot of folks will say the alarm's not working. Well, on this 701, it's very strange. That alarm's not going to go off until that cutout comes here and allows this to move forward. So the alarm's set, but until that drops, I don't know if you can see that right there, the alarm's not going to go off. Now what happens is, I think it goes off for about 10 seconds and it stops. Now that's going to go around, here's the cutout, that'll go around again, and it'll go off for another 10 seconds. And I think it does that 3 or 4 times. So it's a little less annoying. So until you go ahead and come back to the alarm knob and push it down, that alarm's going to keep going off every 10 seconds or so. Because what it does is it releases this button, which sends energy over to that device. So this thing is completely silent now. I mean, there's no sound at all coming from that motor. So we're very happy with the way this turned out. Everything worked out great. So we're going to get this back together. I thought about whitening. I think I'm going to leave it like this for now. It's just aged. It could whiten very well. But for now, I'm just going to leave it the cream color that it's developed over the years. So there it is, the Copal Castellon 701. Got on eBay, turned out to be treasure, not trash. Well, hope this helps someone. Thanks for taking the time.